Troopers, this is Allison Croft, Begging McNulty and Trancers, and you're listening to Tommy Throwback Kovac on Splat from the Past. Say, who's the skirt? Nice.
Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming my second guest from the 1987 cult classic, The Monster Squad. And this time it will be Ryan Lambert, who played Rudy, my second Rudy in the last week on the show. Last week, I had Barry Diamond from Bachelor Party, who played Rudy in that on, and this week I'll have this Rudy. And Rudy is also my best friend's nickname, named after the Sean Astin movie, Rudy. And anyways, Ryan, of course, played Rudy in the Monster Squad, but he was also in Kids Incorporated, the Disney show. And he also did a lot of other things, like he guest starred on It's Gary Shandling's show, Sidekicks, the TV Disney movie Ask Max, a cult classic that needs to be recognized. It's on YouTube. I used to watch it when I was a kid. Jeff Cohen, who played Chunk in the Goonies, is the star of it. Great movie, and Ryan plays his bully in that. And I'm having Ryan on the show today to talk about all that stuff. He also took a long break from the business, and now he's back, and he's doing a lot of different things now. And I can't wait to talk to him. Allison Croft made the connection after a year of waiting for his message on Facebook, and I'm so excited. So yeah, here is my interview with Ryan Lambert. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. It's a nice hot day over here in Redding, California, and I'm a happy guy.
Redding, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been there. Hold on, we got like mass siren brigade going on out front here.
Yeah, it's insane over there.
Probably hear a lot of that being in Los Angeles, in the middle of the city and all. So
yeah, it's
it's kind
unfortunate.
of crazy here. Well, not getting. It is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. This is such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.
So, going back in time, you were a kid actor. At what age did you start gravitating toward acting?
Well, I was pretty young. I was really young, actually. I was like 5 or 6 when I started like singing, like at school and stuff. That kind of gravitated towards me joining an after-school thing, not a part of the school, but away from the school, like a musical comedy troupe, singing, dancing. It was like classes, so I was basically learning how to be on stage. And we would do performances twice a year. And I got most of my skills from that. But around, I believe I was 13 when I actually started to do it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
That started with an audition for a show I'd never really seen before, so I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But after a long search from them for like the perfect kid, for some reason, still don't know why, they settled on me. And then I was on a show called Kids Incorporated.
Right.
For like 5 years, I believe. 5 seasons, 6 years, I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. I mean, when I was 10 years old, my mom took me to see E.T.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at after my 3rd or 4th viewing at the Cinerama Dome here in Los Angeles. I realized that I felt like I could do what Henry Thomas was doing, even at 10 years old. I'm like, I think I know what he's doing, and I think I want to do that too. That's what I want to do. So yeah, my mom took me to one audition, my first audition, and I got it. Like, yeah, okay, I think I can do this. But because Kids Incorporated was so musically oriented, I had already learned those skills being on stage and singing in front of people. So the newness of it all was more the camera work. I had to get used to blocking in front of a camera as opposed to being on a stage in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was about it. 13 years old.
Wow. Is that you were born in Ohio but raised in L.A.?
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Moved to Pittsburgh when I was about 2. And then we moved back to Cleveland for about another year. And then my parents moved us to sunny Los Angeles when I was 4.
Wow.
Yeah. I grew up in Los Angeles. I moved to San Francisco in 2000.
Oh.
I just moved back to LA in 2015.
Wow. I envy you. I'm born and raised in San Francisco, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I saw you're San Mateo, right?
Yes.
You're yeah.
San
I
Mateo.
have a lot of friends out there. But yeah, I was in. I bounced around a bunch in San Francisco, apartment to apartment. So I lived in a bunch of neighborhoods in San Francisco. So, and I was there for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I feel like it definitely is my second home. Only out of the fact that I've only lived 2 places. So it sort of is my second home. A lot of my friends are from there and are still there, and I go to visit a lot. So, I know where I am when I'm there, let me just say.
Yeah, I loved it up until 2010. Then I started seeing, everything getting torn down and built and all that Silicon Valley crap.
Yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking. I got there.
Yeah.
I got there in 2000, basically, the .com crash.
Yeah.
So there was a huge resurge of art coming back into the city after that, and so I was sort of in that wave of everything. I was in a band, recording, rehearsing, playing out all over the city,
Mm-hmm.
and touring, putting out albums. That's basically what I was doing.
Wow.
For the 15 years that I was there.
Wow. I didn't know.
I was part of a new movement there, that started. It was really nice. Where there was a lot of bands that kind of congregated together. I know congregate is a bad word now. Yeah, and then the new wave of tech kind of moved in, sort of while I was phasing myself out of being there, and then in 2015 I had to get out of there. And I wanted to come back to LA to sort of pursue more film and television side of my artistry, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. I left in 2017. My mother and I lost everything in 2013 because of the prices getting high, and plus we trust my stepfather a little too much, and we just lost everything. And so we got out in 2017 and came up here, and following my really bad car accident I had in 2015,
Oh my gosh.
and I started this podcast right away as soon as we got up here, and it's been nothing but a blessing for me. But we do plan on moving to LA, hopefully by next year after all this crap is over.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, welcome. Come on down.
Yeah, I love it there. It's the only time I ever feel like I belong anywhere is when I'm in LA. With all
How I felt. I mean, I do have a kinship to San Francisco, and like I said, it will always be a second home, and I will never not visit. But a lot of my friends were born and raised in the Bay Area, and they'd talk about things. We'd be sitting around a bar drinking, and they'd, remember that time in 1992, and I'd be like, I'm sort of an outsider here. I'm I'm a Dodgers fan. That's a giant no-no there.
Yeah.
I'm a Lakers fan. That's a giant no-no there.
Yeah.
My only saving grace sports-wise is that I'm a Raiders fan.
I'm not a Raiders fan.
I would always tell people, they go, oh yeah, Raiders, okay, why not the Niners? You live in San Francisco. I'm like, well, I was a Raiders fan in Los Angeles when they were here when I was a little boy. So naturally, I don't mind them being in Oakland, but that would be my team. That is still my team. Because, the Rams moved to St. Louis, and who cares about that?
Yeah.
But yeah, the Raiders for me. So that was my only kind of saving grace sports-wise, was that I was at least a Raiders fan. But if I even mentioned the Dodgers or the Lakers, it was I don't know if I could cuss, but it was a shit show.
Yeah. No, you can swear all you want on this podcast. I do it all the time.
I never know, because sometimes are we live right now?
We're pre-recorded.
Okay, good. I was going to say, I've done a bunch of these, and I've had a few where they're like, oh yeah, we're sort of a family show, so we'll have to be.
No.
I'm like, dude, that's not me.
Yeah, no, this is not a family show.
But when I was a kid, but that's, I'm almost 50 years old now. Come on.
Yeah. So you were on Kids Incorporated. How was doing that show overall?
It was really hard work, actually. Our schedule was grueling.
Mm-hmm.
We shot during the summer, so I went from school, and then when I graduated that year, I would go right to the set, and we'd start shooting. But months before that, we had to pre-record all of the tracks for the the music.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get these cassette tapes in the mail, and what was highlighted was the one that I was going to be focused on, and I would learn all the original songs, and then we would go record them. That was during the school year, so
Wow.
I'd have to go to school, and then I'd go on the weekends to a recording studio and do all the vocals for the entire season in 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was grueling. And by the time we got there, all the music was recorded, but we'd get the scripts for the first week. We did 3 episodes a week. And so we do Monday would be the blocking for all the quote unquote acting scenes. And then on Tuesday we would shoot all the acting scenes for all 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday was all the live numbers for each episode. And then Thursday we would shoot those. And then Friday we would rehearse the production numbers. There was 1 each episode. And then Saturday we would shoot them. And then at the end of the day, they would hand us our scripts for the next week. And on Sunday I would go home and I'd learn all my lines for Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the entire schedule. And, we're not just sitting there talking. We're sweating, we're dancing, we're singing. It was tough. It was really hard. In fact, I talked to someone that was on that show, not the film, but the show Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how their grueling schedule was intense. And I remember telling them about it, and they're like, "Oh my God, yours sounds so much crazier."
Yeah.
And also being a little kid, the youngest cast member when I first got there was 9.
Wow.
And so, and I was a teenager, and so it was grueling, but we were young and spry, and so we made it through it.
Yeah, you're the second person I've talked to in the last couple of weeks that worked with Fergie before she was Fergie.
Of course.
Yeah. Did you have any idea then?
Of course I did. She was one of the most talented people I've ever known in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't call her that.
Yeah.
I call her by her real name because she's family to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew. I felt like I was the odd man out there. I'm like, these 4 people, the main kids on the show, these 4 kids can sing their asses off, and And here I am, like, with my scratchy, off-key vocals. But for some reason, it just worked. Like, I was kind of like the rocker dude, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
So I got all, like, the Bruce Springsteen songs and stuff like that. And then I'm, standing next to and performing with, like, 4 of the most talented people I've ever known in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So even to this day, Rashawn Patterson is one of the greatest singers I have ever, if not the greatest singer I've ever heard in my life. And Stacey used to just blow me away when we were kids. Like, I couldn't believe her vocals were incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And still are.
Yeah, she's a very talented lady for sure. And then you also worked with Mario Lopez before Saved by the Bell.
Mario was, there were 5 principals, me, Martika, Rashawn Patterson, Renee Sands, and Stacey Ferguson. And then there were 5 dancers. And they were sort of like, they would do the production numbers. And then they were also, like, the band. And a few of them were, let's say, backup dancers when we would do live performances. And Mario was the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any lines, I don't think, maybe like a few here and there, but he was one of the principal dancers, and he was the drummer for Kids Incorporated.
Yeah.
Yeah, our young Mario. Oh yeah, we were all family. Like, it was, all the kids were really, close, and our parents were obviously all there. They got to know each other, and we'd all have sleepovers and slumber parties and birthday parties, and we got really we all got to be this gigantic family that still exists to this day. I still talk to almost everybody involved, like, if not on a daily basis, we all check in with each other every once in a while, for sure.
Oh, that's wonderful. And they also had one of the older ones was Moosey Dryer.
Moose, the Moose Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to call him Moose Man. What's up? He used to call me Rhino. What's up, Rhino?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's an incredible theater director now here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I've went to see a few of his productions, and he's great. He's still going strong. He was a child actor too. I mean, I know that he's a young man, but he was like in his 20s, but he was a child actor.
Yeah, he was in Oh God. He played John Denver's son in that.
Yeah, and he was on Laughing.
Oh yeah.
So I remember one episode we had Ruth Busby come on,
mm-hmm.
and he walked up to her and he said, "It's Lucy," and she was like, "Oh my God, you were just a little boy." He was like the little boy in the tree. That was like his character on Laughing. So he understood where we were, But he was a little older, so I looked up to him like a big brother. That's kind of how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like kind of our big brother who ran the place we played.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I'm waiting for his reply on Facebook to do the show and stuff, and hopefully I'll get to talk to him.
I'm sure he would love to. I talk to him every once in a while. Like I said, I went to see one of his productions, and it was fantastic. Starring Keith Coogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be down, for sure.
Yeah, he did a colleague of mine's podcast a few years ago, and he sounded like a really nice guy when I listened to that interview. Super sweet,
and just humbled and not bitter about anything, and just loving what he does. He's wonderful.
Yeah, I've had plenty of interviews where there's bitterness, trust me.
I can't even, oh my God, sure. I listen to podcasts, I'm like, why is this guy even doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
This guy does not even know where he is, or what a podcast is, or what the rules are, or anything.
Oh yeah, and it's funny. I talked to this one actor. She said, "Who said that we're not bitter all the time?" And I was like, "Yeah, but not negative all the time."
The thing about this business, I do know a lot of people that are kind of bitter about it. Why didn't I get that part? Why can't I get my movie made, and then all this other garbage is made? And it's just like, it's the attitude be, you kind of have to go with the flow a little bit until
Right.
you've got enough under your belt where you can start calling the shot. Obviously there's exceptions to that rule where someone just decides to go off and make this incredible film with their own funding or crowdfunding, and then it, blows up, and there you are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say 9 out of 10 times that you try to do that, yes, great, you made a film, but you have no training. You just want to be a filmmaker, but you don't really know how to do it.
Right.
You don't have the training, and I am for film school for sure. You learn a lot about the basics, and I think that's what you do. I think it's about just taking the basics and then applying them to your own imagination and creativity, and using it in other ways. The biggest example of that is Stanley Kubrick. He was a cameraman. He was a photographer for Life magazine, and he kind of learned on the cuff. So when he put a film camera in his hand, it was kind of just point, shoot, no lighting, and it was sort of experimental for him. A lot, but I would say most people don't know how to do that. So studying and learning the craft. Same with acting. I always tell actors, they're like, "What should I do?" And I'm like, "Watch everything. Even if you think that it's a cheesy TV show or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's happening right now in the world. Big Bang Theory is the biggest show on TV. Watch the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Because when you get an audition for Big Bang Theory to play a cashier in a restaurant or something, you'll know the show. You'll know the timing. You'll know the pacing. Obviously, go back and watch every classic film you can. A lot of actors always said to me, I'd say, well, go watch Shadow of Doubt, Alfred Hitchcock film.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, I never saw that." I'm like, "Well, go watch it." And they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't see it because that's a long time. I wasn't born yet." Neither was I.
I know, they're stupid.
I wasn't born either, but they're filmed, and they're go back and watch everything. Go watch Chaplin. Go watch Buster Keaton. Go watch Mary Pickford.
Yeah.
Go watch the Thin Man series. Go watch everything. Watch everything you could possibly watch. That's part of the study. I'm not saying you have to go Stella Adler or the Actors Studio all the way, but there is a certain amount of passion, and along with that passion comes studying.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. I remember the first time I saw you was in the Disney TV movie Ask Max.
That's funny.
I
Never comes up.
I watched it on tape over and over again from the time I was 3 till I was 14, I want to say, and the tape wore out. But it's on YouTube now, and I'm so happy.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I might have to have a few cocktails and put that on and just laugh at myself.
Yeah, see your mullet and everything.
My super mullet. Yeah, it's weird. The first episode of Kids Incorporated that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of like a little puffy kid with a leather jacket. And then almost subsequently, everything that I did after that, I'm just wearing a leather jacket. And it wasn't typecast because I was a nice kid on Kids Incorporated. I was a bully in Ask Max. And then I was the badass in movies. And then, I never got to do anything super dramatic or play a different character. I quit before I could have gotten to at least my 20s where I might go out there and get those roles. But Ask Max was, the thing about doing that TV film was, one, it was a Wide World of Disney film, which was cool. Second, Ray Walston was in it.
Yeah.
I got to work with him. But most importantly, I worked with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
who is he was my my hero.
Yeah.
Like, my dad and I, since I could remember watching basketball games, he was my favorite player. And still is, to this day. If someone says, who's the best basketball player of all time? I say, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And there I was working with him. Now, my dad liked to come to Kids Incorporated sets sometimes. Most of the time he was working.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, when he heard that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there, he was the one that took me to that set that day. And I don't know if you remember the scene in Airplane that when he's playing the pilot.
Yes.
And the little kid comes up to him and starts basically fucking razzing him about, like, running up and down the court. You know, my dad says you don't have the, you know. And
Yeah.
grabs the kid by the collar. I'm like,
Yeah.
Dad, you're being that kid right now. Like, my dad was like, so in game 7 of the finals in 80, whatever. Kareem just like looking at my dad like, all right, we're talking basketball, okay. But yeah, I got to be in a movie with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, if I, that should be on my tombstone.
Yeah, oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I reached out to Jeff Cohen recently. I'm waiting to hear back from him, but guess what? I found the guy who plays his friend Gino DeMoro. I found him on LinkedIn. He looks exactly the same. He's got a beard, a little heavier, of course, but he looks exactly the same. And it's funny, our mutual friend Allison Croft worked with him on an episode of Family Ties, and she told me she doesn't remember him. Yeah.
I barely remember him. I mean, I kind of remember what he looks like a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we were friends. I was buddies with Jeff a little bit. Not really outside of that shoot. I guess I'd see him around
Yeah.
a little bit. You know, method acting. I was trying to be tough. I didn't want him to, think that we were friends or anything. No, I'm joking. We were kids. It was all fine. He was sweet. He was really sweet. Really easy to work with. He was funny. He was really funny to hang around with. Probably still is.
Yeah.
And he's like an entertainment lawyer now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so I haven't had any chances to meet a lawyer quite yet in this field, but I'll probably give him a buzz when I do. Why not? Everything comes around full circle.
If he doesn't remember you, then you can go to David Mendenhall, who's an entertainment lawyer now.
That is true, and I actually have seen him recently. I forgot that he was also an entertainment lawyer. He came to a screening of a documentary that I was in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, at the Alamo Draft House on Valencia and 24th. He was, he came and visited me and Andre Gower at that screening.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him in years.
I've interviewed his sister twice, who was a Dean Martin Gold Digger dancer, and I just had her on last week. And she asked me to take that episode down because we were very politically incorrect, and she doesn't want the public to, hear that version of her.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But it's all good, though.
I've had people do that with me, too. I have a podcast called Dying in the Hollywood Hills with my buddy Jacob. And actually, it was actually called Squadcast before that, and it was with me and Andre Gower, and we had a guest on.
Mm-hmm.
About a week later, she was like, "Did you put it up yet?" And I'm like, "I don't think so. I'm not in charge of that." But yeah, she said, "Can you take this one part out, edit this thing?"
Oh yeah, I get that all the time.
And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "You said what you said. Like, I'm not going to edit you out of these things because please." And I was like, first of all, I don't even have the technology to do that. That someone else has that technology. So here's their number. And then I never talk to that person again.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it happens to me a lot, trust me. And our YouTube studio has changed now. And so I tell everyone, choose your words wisely because I don't want to edit anymore.
Yeah. I'll do my best for you.
No, you're doing great. Do you remember guest starring on Sidekicks?
Yeah. Sort of another Laker story because Ernie and I went to school together.
Mm-hmm.
We were in a very small private school for little actor asked, he was like, do you want to be on Sidekicks? And I was like, sure, I guess. He's like, I don't know, call your agent. And I was like, I'll just come down and do it. I think I believe I was on it twice as two different characters. Both like the same type of character, but I think I was like a bully on two different characters.
Yeah.
Different episodes. So,
Didn't he have like a health scare a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Oh, good.
All good.
That's good.
All good. That was a fun experience. I mean, I got to work with Buck Rogers.
Oh yeah, Gil Gerard.
Yeah, he was cool. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, you know, I did a lot of the, you know, because I was working a lot as a kid, so sometimes casting directors would just call up and say, can you please just come down and do this part? Like, we don't need to audition you. We already know you. Just, it's a week on whatever show, whatever sitcom I was doing, Webster.
Yeah.
Silver Spoons, you know, can come down and do a week on Silver Spoons. And actually, in those instances, I got to play a football guy. So I did get to kind of go outside my comfort zone with a leather jacket, toughie, and play like a football dude. Like, what am I doing in this, like, Letterman's jacket? I look ridiculous. And there's Webster. This is really weird.
Yeah. So how did you get involved in the Monster Squad? Was that just a standard audition?
It was. Yeah, I just got a call. They sent the sides over, and I looked at the description of the character, and I said, yep, got it. And I went in. I pretty much looked like I did in the film at the audition. Mm-hmm. And I went in, and Fred Decker and Shane Black were sitting in the office, and I sat down, and we chatted for a little bit, and then I saw that Shane had a pack of Marlboro in his shirt pocket, and I said, can I get one of those? And they looked at each other like, are we allowed to give a 15-year-old a cigarette? And I believe it was Shane that said, well, we wrote it into the script. I mean, he's going to have to do it later. And they were like, oh, okay, here you go. I lit it up in the office. We did the scene, and they said, thank you very much. And I walked out, and I walked through the lobby with all the other kids that were auditioning for the part as well. Obviously, I just walked out, like, with massive attitude. And, yeah, I think it was, like, only a few days later, they were like, you got it.
Wow. You don't hear that no more.
No, it doesn't really work that way. I mean, I can't really speak for anybody that was casting for that film, but I have talked to Fred a bunch, and he always says, you know, there was just no doubt in our mind. Like, you walked in, and it was like, oh, there he is. Like, we found him. We found Rudy. So, I don't know what I did. I don't know why. I mean, I just did what I did. The thing about that was, you know, there's a lot of baggage with that character. Mm-hmm. I know it's a kid's film. I know it's a monster film. I know it's an adventure film. But there is still a lot of there's a lot of backstory to that character that, if you really dig deep, it's interesting. Not that it's just something that's in my own head and what I believe that character to be. But you know, I realized it when I was getting wardrobe done, and the wardrobe lady was putting all these different leather jackets on me, mm-hmm. saying, no, that's not the one. Oh, this one. How about this one? And then she put this one on me, and she was like, oh, that's it. Hold on, I'm going to take a picture. Okay, Polaroid. And I said, I don't know, this one really doesn't feel like me. And she came right up to me. She looked me in the eye, and she said, you're not playing you. And I went, oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm not playing me. Who is this guy? And I started to dig a little deep. I'm like, there's so much mystery surrounding him, especially, like, with lines in the film that, Ashley Banks says, I heard he killed his dad.
Yeah.
Like, what do we know about him? So I just figured, it's the clothes that people think, like, oh, that guy's so badass. Like, oh, my God, you were so badass. I'm like, you put a leather jacket and you spike someone's hair up and you put some Ray-Bans on them and put a cigarette in their mouth, you're going to look cool. Like, he was probably, like, a really lonely kid. Why else would he be hanging out with, like, little kids fighting monsters? Like, he didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his story is probably pretty sad.
Yeah. I mean,
That's just my take on it.
I mean, you're right, though. You sell it beautifully. He's like a James Dean Rebel type.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people think, like, oh, but, that character in Rebel Without a Cause is so cool. But it's like, no, really watch the movie. He's not cool. Like, he is scared and lonely and upset and pissed off at the world, and he's angsty. I mean, that's like, almost the original teen angst right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that came across as, like, badass. And so that kind of became, like, the precedent for the cool kid. So you say, like, oh, he's cool, like James Dean.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, if you're saying the words James Dean and not the character's name, Cal, and Rebel Without a Cause, and you're just using the word James Dean. James Dean was a freak.
Yeah.
He was a crazy person. Like, he wasn't cool at all. He was like the guy sitting in the corner playing bongos with glasses on and smoking cigarettes. Like, you might think that's, like, sexy or cool if you're a girl, but, like, what is cool? Marlon Brando in The Wild Ones? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Montgomery Clift and so many other movies. Yeah. I mean,
hell yeah.
Yeah. Was Duncan Rieger scary in person as Dracula?
Yeah.
Because I heard he scared the shit out of Ashley Banks when he grabbed her by the chin and says, "Give me the amulet, you bitch."
Yeah, they didn't tell her what he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Except, like, action. He's going to grab your face, you're going to rise up on this thing, and we're all going to be here. And she was just terrified.
Yeah.
And he said that line, and I think it was, if I remember correctly, I heard a story that it wasn't until take two that she actually did the scream, because the first time that he did it, he scared her so bad she couldn't open her mouth. No sound came out of her mouth. She was so terrified.
Yeah.
Which is so great. I love Ashley. I mean, she's, like my sister now. And, God, she loves that story too, And it worked. It was the way that it was directed, and it was the way that it was. I mean, I didn't really have any interactions with him in the film, if you remember. Like, I wasn't in any scenes, but he was there. And, didn't break character, never let us see him outside of makeup, never talked to us, talked to us once. Same with Tom Noonan. He would never come out of makeup around us. He always was in complete character when we had scenes with him. Never knew Tom. I never knew Tom Noonan. I never knew him until now.
Yeah. A colleague of mine interviewed him on his podcast. Oh my God, what an ass that guy was.
Yeah, he has a pretty interesting attitude. He's really an actor.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Just beyond brilliant. I saw him for the first time. I saw him like years later at like one of these like conventions where we were like, the Monster Squad's coming. They're gonna sign, and lines around the block. It was intense. We had no idea that this was a thing. We were like, whoa. And I remember walking up to him and I said, "Nice to meet you. My name's Ryan Lambert." We've never really met. We did a bunch of scenes together, but we've never actually really met.
Yeah, what did he say?
I think it was something along the lines of, "Oh."
No. Oh my God.
Okay, so I'm slowly backing away from the crazy actor man.
Yeah. I think Fred Decker is a genius. I tried to get him on the show last year. He ended up not getting back to me after he said he would do it. But I put him in the same category as Savage Steve Holland. You know, two directors who made two cult classics in the '80s, and then after that, it was over for them. You know, they're like two very underrated guys.
Yeah. Fred is a bona fide genius.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is an encyclopedia of film.
That's what I heard.
I've never talked to anybody that knows more about the craft than that man does. And I'm just a huge fan of everything. Like, and really passionately takes it all to heart. He you know, you can't have a conversation with him without him bringing up James Bond.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe he even wrote parts of a book about James Bond. Like, and anytime I have a James Bond question, I'm like, Fred, and You Only Live Twice. Why is that actor? Well, because he knows everything.
Wow.
Ray Harryhausen. We talked about Ray Harryhausen a lot. We went to an exhibit together a few years back at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. They had like all the models of Ray Harryhausen from like Sinbad and Clash of the Titans and all of his work. And we would just walk together and we'd stand in front of these models and he goes, so this one, yada, 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 and like just go off on it. Like he could have written a little card next to the exhibit. It was fascinating. Yeah, the man is a wonder, and we'll talk to you about film forever.
Yeah, that's cool. You guest starred on It's Gary Shandling's show. Do you have a story about that?
Well, I didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I got the audition. I loved the show. I'd watched the show. And I was like, it was amazing. And I had just gotten some time off. And I was not really interested in doing like a week on a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
And my manager was like, you got it. This is like a good show. Like this is some good work. And Gary's genius. Like, okay. So I went to the audition. And it wasn't just for the casting director. Like, they were all there. Gary was in the room. Alan Zweibel was in the room. The other producers were there. The casting director was there. And I had grown my hair out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wearing, like, a jean jacket, like, with, like, patches all over, like punk rock patches.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I'm going in there to not get it. Like, I'm going to go in there and just look at the fucking sides and just go blah, 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 whatever. And then they won't give it to me. Well, they did. and my manager called and said, you got the Shandling show. And I was like, what? Oh, God damn it. Like, I wanted to go do this thing this week. But when I got there and we started table reading, I was like, oh, this is, like, super important show. Like, I'm working with some top-notch talent here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alan Zweibel produced Saturday Night Live, then there's Gary, who's just, as I learned throughout the week, like, maybe the most giving and caring actor I've ever worked with in my life. Mm-hmm. He was so special. I had lines, and we would work on specific lines together. And he'd go, why don't you say it like this? Like, say it to me, and then, like, wait a beat, and then say that. And then I'll do this. What if I did this? And we would just laugh together. I'm like, this is, like, super collaborative for someone who, like, has their own TV show, and I'm just a guest star on it. I guess my character was sort of pivotal to the plot. So it needed to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And I say it's only 2 scenes in the episode, but I got to play 2 different characters basically because I'm the bully get to like slick my hair down and pretend like Scott Nemeth's character like beat me up when I was bullying him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny. It was just funny. It was a great episode of that show, and Gary was just the most loving, caring person. You can't even imagine how amazing he is. Obviously, when he passed, it was one that hit me really hard.
Yeah, I saw the documentary about his life on HBO. I had more respect for him after seeing that documentary than I ever did and stuff. Just how dedicated to his craft he was as a comedian, and just how he helped people. I mean, that is just wonderful, beyond wonderful.
Yeah. Absolutely. What a treasure. His treasure, for sure. And when people say, like, what was your greatest experience as an actor working in business, I always say it's Gary Shandling's show.
Oh.
It was beautiful. It was an honor. It's an honor to be part of that, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Monster Squad and Kids Incorporated and things like that. But there's something about having worked with Gary Shandling, like sort of like a badge of honor, I guess.
Mm-hmm. How about working with Shannon Doherty on Freeze Frame?
That was fun. I had a wonderful time. It was my first time being away from my parents on a set. We shot it in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I had gotten my best friend Adam cast as the other lead, and so him and I like shared an apartment. We had a car. They gave us a car, and it was wild. It was just like it was sort of like a free for all.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a lot of physical comedy with Adam and I, because we were kind of like, Shannon was the main character, and then we were just kind of like her two like boobs on the side, like just the friends, like idiots that were sort of on the adventure with her, helping her out. And Adam and I were writing screenplays at that time together, so we had these characters down in our heads, and we just the things that him and I wrote together, we just sort of transferred those characters into these characters.
Mm-hmm.
So we never got to make the movies that we wrote, but at least those characters are alive and well on film somewhere. But we would experiment a lot.
Yeah.
So the director, what if we did this? Like, what if we did this? And we'd do the routine for him, and he'd go, that's great. And then Shannon would get upset. She'd be like, you're upstaging me. I want that line. I want the funny line. I'm like, you're not. I'm supposed to be the funny comic relief. You're serious about the whole thing. You're the one trying to tell me to shut the fuck up. So she just wanted some funny lines, and they gave her some. And she was wonderful to me. She was great. We were pretty close when we shot Freeze Frame. It was actually called Homeroom News when we shot it. We even had crew jackets that said Homeroom News. And then I don't know why they changed the name to Freeze Frame, but that could have easily just been a Disney TV movie of the week thing.
Mm-hmm.
First time director, first time everybody in Indiana, total Indiana production crew, just wanting to make a film, and we had a great time. I wouldn't say the end product came out.
It never does usually.
Super cheesy. They wouldn't even let me sing at the end of the. My character's supposed to be in a band, and they wouldn't let me sing because they had to pay me more.
Oh.
I had to record the song myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm lip syncing to someone else, and I'm like, I'm a singer. Like I'm on. Like what are you guys doing? Like you're not doing this right. But it is what it is, and it's there. And hey, you know what it is, so people see it.
Yeah.
But that's on YouTube as well, because I doubt that's on anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll check it out though. But was that the last thing you did for a while before taking a break?
That was that was the last thing I did. I remember coming back and getting a phone call from the producer of Kids Incorporated saying I wasn't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of the last straw in my frustration with that world.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I kind of wanted to start a band, and I did. I was in like this punk band in LA, and I was sort of ready to move on and do something else. I might have continued. There were a few instances that I won't name the actual films, but that I got bags packed, ready to go, and well, one of them I could probably say, but like, you know, I signed contracts, bags packed, ready to roll, and then it just all of a sudden fell apart, and I didn't get to do the film, and then the films went on to be like these big successes. And you do get a little bitter. I tried not to, but like at that time I was already like, I'm too punk rock for this anyway. I'm just a kid. I just want to be in rock and roll. So you know what? Fuck all y'all. I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. Fuck acting. Fuck movies. Fuck TV. I got to get the hell out of here. I want to be, I want to spend my 20s, learning music better and like being in bands. And that's exactly what I did. I just left.
What movie do you want to name?
Well, I got this. I auditioned for this film. I got a few callbacks, and they screen tested me, and I got it. They're like, you got it. And I went and I did rehearsals for it, and with the director, and the director and I got along really well.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, and then then we were all ready to go. We were going to go shoot in Mexico City, and I literally had a bag packed. Like I was almost out the door, and the director had some heart problems, and they wouldn't let him do the film. His doctor was like, "You're not going to Mexico to shoot." So they got a new director, and that director wanted to screen test me all over again.
Oh. And
I basically told them to fuck off. I'm like, no, I already got this part. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm not going to go through this process again. Like, they're like, oh, it's just it's no big deal. He just wants to hang out with you and meet you. But you could probably still do the film. And I was like, you know what? No, fuck off. It was called, when we were rehearsing, it was called Grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went and shot the film without me. And then when they came out, they changed the name to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh my God! I was actually thinking about that movie. It was just a guess. I swear to God, I did not know. I was thinking, was it Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yep.
Wow.
Stuart Gordon was directing it, and
Stuart Gordon?
Yeah, Stuart Gordon was the director.
I did not know that. Oh my God! I'm learning new stuff here.
Yeah, he had done obviously Reanimator and
From Beyond, Robot Jocks, a lot of great movies.
Oh, he's done a ton of movies, but before Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I think it was only a handful of horror films. Castle Freak and Reanimator, and then Disney was going to let him do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Well, it was called Ground. I think it was before that. It was called Teeny Weenies.
Teeny Weenies.
And it was either Teeny Weenies or Grounded. I don't know which one was first, but those were the two names before they changed it to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I like Grounded better. That's a good one.
I thought Grounded was a good name for a movie. It sounded fun, and it was fun. We had a great time, like rehearsing for it. We were using like ladders as like big blades of grass.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have one picture of me like at a rehearsal for that film, and then I didn't do it. I didn't do it. So yeah, I was done. I was like, I'm sick of this. I still love film this day. I mean, that's why I'm back in LA.
Yeah.
I did some theater in San Francisco and stuff like that. But yeah, that was it for me. Yeah, freeze frame was the last thing I did.
Yeah, I got involved in theater again after taking a long break in 2013, just before my mom and I lost everything. I was volunteering for all these theater companies, working concession stands and trying to get my foot in the door to work behind the scenes. It never happened for me, unfortunately, and then all the shit happened with us, and then my accident, But I loved the Bay
Sorry
Area.
about your accident. Like,
Oh,
what did you break?
it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Okay.
So I got hit by a car, after we crashed in the middle of the road after a night of drinking, me and this guy, and I broke my leg in 7 places. My aorta was severed. I had a mild heart attack. Fractured my hand. Lots of stuff. Crushed my ribs. Everything. I mean, I shouldn't have lived, and I survived after a 30-day coma.
Wow.
Yeah.
God. Jesus, dude, that's intense.
It was pretty intense, and I'm grateful every day I'm back here, and I'm making my dream happen.
Good for you, man. I'm proud of you for being positive about the whole.
Got a long way to go.
Experience.
Got a long way to go, but this is only the beginning.
So you're still going through like physical therapy and things like that?
I did a little bit of it earlier this year just because I needed to get back into the mode of losing weight, which I did. I lost 25 pounds, and I'm in the middle of trying to lose more. I got depressed and ate a lot after, and that's not good with a stent in my heart, so I gotta lose like 100 more pounds, and then I'll be good. But
Right.
I'm taking stock of my life.
Well, glad to have you here. Glad you're still around, kicking and living a dream. So
Thank you.
for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you have anything coming out during this quarantine time?
There's nothing coming out. Well, that might not be true. I did a record with my last band in San Francisco while I was still living there.
Mm-hmm.
We never finished it, but we got close. And so right before the pandemic hit, I had gone up to San Francisco to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
I only really had to do 3 more vocals on it, and then maybe the producer would add some other. We had like a horn section, so I think during the pandemic, one of our horn players did some tracks from her house and sent them, and we locked them in, and that album is being mixed right now.
Mm-hmm.
That band is called Kill Moi.
Mm-hmm.
And that record should be, I mean, at least by the end of the year, we'll probably release it. So I've got that coming out. I have a production company here in Los Angeles with 2 buddies of mine,
Mm-hmm.
Jacob and Joe, and called Night Moves. And we were sort of like just getting started, getting ready to shoot some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A short film I wrote. We're going to do some other projects with some other outside production, and obviously the pandemic hit, so we're sort of on hold with that. But I'm writing. I've got a pilot that I wrote about my time in San Francisco. I'm trying to get made called Private School.
Nice.
I've got I've sort of acquired a children's graphic novel, a horror graphic novel called Pete the Tree. And I've been trying to shop that around and get that off the ground for this wonderful guy and his son who wrote it together. And it's a fun story, but it's got a lot of horror elements. So I feel like it is a little bit of that monster feel. Sort of like, I call it gateway horror, just something for like kids to like get into the horror genre. Without showing them, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. There's not enough of that, There's Goosebumps, there's Monster Squad, but,
Yeah.
What else is there for kids? Are You Afraid of the Dark? Whatever,
Oh, yeah.
But, I kind of want to do something along those lines. So, I'm trying to get that made. Some other stuff, but, I'm working on things here in LA, and I'm still, I have a manager, and I'm auditioning for different roles. So I'm sort of back into it. I'm sort of keeping my hands in music and, one leg in acting as well, and film and TV production. So still going strong, still alive.
Yeah. Do you think the business has gotten better since when you started?
No.
It's gotten worse probably, right?
Way worse. Well, the thing is, like, this goes back to the thing we were talking about studying, is that, you know, when I was a kid, you know, you were an actor.
A little bit, yeah.
And you studied your craft, and you did your thing, and you went on auditions, and you got them, and, you know, it was a very small knit group of kids that were doing it. Now, I've noticed, you know, I'm sitting in the audition waiting room, casting director's office waiting room, and, you know, everyone's doing their thing, like, reading their sides, but I'm looking around like, these guys look like they should be on The Bachelor. You know, like, what am I doing here? Like, and I just realized that people come here to be famous. I know that's always been a thing. That's sort of this Hollywood dream.
Right.
But there had to be some sort of, you know, not just the drive, but you had to have the talent. Right. You had to have the, the abilities, and you also had to have tools in your belt to do the job. It's not just standing in front of a camera. There's a lot of technical stuff that you need to know. There's a lot of lingo, and if you don't know the lingo, you're gone.
Yeah.
You just don't. You're not taken seriously. You have to know exactly what the cinematographer wants from you, just by getting a few words. And I've just noticed that most of Hollywood now is just like a lot of like people that just want to come and they figure I'll audition for The Bachelor, Bachelorette, any of those, you know, game shows, whatever, reality shows.
Yeah.
And then I'll be on the cover of People magazine, and then I'll be dating an actress, and there I am. It's like, it's frustrating. It's like there's so much garbage made, film-wise and TV-wise, that the only saving grace of the whole thing is that there is so much content being made, because there are so many platforms for it to air on. So there's a lot more to audition for, but you can get lost in the mix and lost in the whole, you know, production of the whole thing. It's just like, jeez, there's so much out there. Like, how do you even get noticed anymore?
Yeah.
But you can't be discouraged. That's the only thing. It's like you've got to, like I was saying, you can't be bitter about anything. You've got to kind of go with the flow and play the game. And then when you get yours, then, you know, you're the game.
Mm-hmm. I did stand-up comedy in the Bay Area for 10 years, and it was just, oh my God, insane. You know, I talked to the old comedians from the 70s and the 80s, and they just tell me how radically different it was back then. You know, back then there was so much camaraderie, and just
Sure.
It was so much easier and stuff now. I mean, I heard LA's gotten better. It's still, I mean, they still have camaraderie now in there and stuff, but in San Francisco there was none. Everyone was jealous of each other. Everyone was backstabbing each other. I could not stand it.
I kind of knew that. Yeah, I kind of know that about San Francisco. Here, it's there are various gangs or clubs, and if you can get into one of those clubs, then you're set.
Right.
Whether it's UCB, Second City, Groundlings, or just the circuit, the stand-up circuit, if you can become a part of that. But it is very hard to squeeze your way into those things. Largo, Largo crowd.
There's four people I came up with who are actually working in the major clubs in LA, and all the rest are still struggling.
Yep. Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, like, open mics and all that. It's like, oh, when do I get my break? But again, especially with, I mean, stand-up comedy, like, that's one of those things where, like, you got to kind of become like a road dog, and just like hit the road and stay in shitty motels. And I mean, Bill Burr tells this story on, he's got like a little special that he has where he's sort of showcasing up and coming comedians, and he said, this is the show that you get on when you no longer, when your hotel door doesn't go out to a parking lot. Like, now you're actually inside the hotel and you have a room and there's a hallway when you walk out. This is the next, rung of a ladder for a comedian. to get up there. And, you got to go pay your dues for the whole thing. You got to pay your dues.
Mm-hmm.
And then own your craft and go out there and play the shitty clubs in, Iowa and all over the country and get your set down. And it has to be your life. It has to become like all your entire existence. And acting is like that too. Any profession in this business is like that. I mean, if you want to be a plumber, you got to know how to plumb.
Yeah. No one just.
So I'm a plumber.
Yeah, no one just shows up at your house. Hey, I think I can do this job. I'm a plumber.
I'm a plumber because I called myself a plumber, so therefore I am a plumber. Where do you need me? And then you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Same thing with an actor, but you got to know what you're doing, and you got to know how to do it well. And that takes a lot of concentration and studying and focus.
Yeah, my arm feels good. I want to pitch at Dodger Stadium today.
Hey, I'll be out there on the mound, coach. I'm on my way. I'm warming up. As the ball goes flying into the stand.
Yeah. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on today. This was a lot of fun, and wow, it was.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem.
Yeah, you gave me some information that I did not know. About Stuart Gordon on Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and
Sure.
living in San Francisco for all the same time I was. That's just crazy.
It's insane. I know. It's weird. I've talked to a lot of people that lived there, and I'm like, wait, you were there too? It's such a small city. I'm surprised they run into you, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked at a couple bars, and we had bands playing all the time. I worked at the Swinging Door in San Mateo.
Mm-hmm.
I was there 2 years, and then I took a couple years off, and then I worked at the Standby in South San Francisco.
Standby? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it became Standby in 2009, after it had been something else for years before that. Yeah, and we had bands play there all the time, too.
South San Francisco was always like this different beast. It was like, oh, over there.
Yeah.
Once you get past, Mission, and then you're in, the Deep Mission, and then once you get past that, it's like, what the hell's out here?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a clusterfuck of a city.
Oh, it's worse now. Oy, oy, oy. Jesus.
Yeah.
Gone down for sure.
Well, you have yourself a great day, and hopefully someday when I'm out in LA and stuff, I can meet you and all that.
Absolutely. I would love that. That'd be great.
Awesome. Well, have a great night over there, or it's going to be, it's daytime still, but it'll be night in a couple hours.
Oh, yeah. I've got a whole day of sitting around doing nothing for the rest of the day, which I've been doing for the last 4 months. So, staying inside. So, yeah, you be safe, man. Be safe out there, and I hope your family and everybody is good, and take care.
Yes, you stay safe as well. Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Ryan Lambert. Ain't he a cool dude? Wow, that was just a trip to find out that he lived in San Francisco all those years. Oh my God, it's crazy. And to find out that Stuart Gordon almost directed Honey I Shrunk the Kids, I was not aware of that. Great guy, great stories, great talk. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.